Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another installment of my series, Overcoming CRPS. In each episode of this series, I showcase one of my many clients who has overcome the pain of CRPS and is now moving on to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. This episode is particularly special to me because it showcases one of my clients who was diagnosed at the age of 12. This client went to the Cleveland Clinic, got a spinal cord stimulator, tried ketamine, painkillers, and a number of procedures with little to no relief. So when she met me in her 40s, you can guess that she was pretty skeptical. We started off with one consultation visit between me and her, and feeling still skeptical, we decided to have an initial free consultation visit between me, her, and her husband. Thankfully, with encouragement from her husband, she decided to book pain coaching with me. I am proud to report now that after working with me, Renee is not only back to the gym and walking a mile or more each day, but she is also pain-free and nearly fully weaned off of pain medication. Additionally, Renee reported to me just yesterday that she is down 17 pounds. I am so excited to see Renee back to life, feeling healthy again, being able to spend time with her daughter and family again, and be the person that she always wished she could be before this pain started holding her back. I am very excited to share this testimony with you, and so I'm going to let it speak for itself. I just want you to know before we start that if you would like help in the same way Renee has gotten it, you are more than welcome to book a free consultation with me using the link down below this video. Or you can visit thewindowpain.com and find out more information about the free resources that I have and the 8-week self-guided online program there as well. Thank you, Renee, for having the courage to share your story here in this video, and I will let you take it away.
Hey, wait.
How's it going?
Good, I made it work.
I am very thankful that we were able to make it work. I'm also glad that
Yeah,
you're living life, and so that's the reason the timing is tough, right?
it is very tough. I have probably wasted a tank of gas today. And all I'm doing is chauffeuring my child around. That's it.
Well,
That's all I'm doing. Yeah.
well, that's awesome. What's she up to today?
So I put her on a horse, I pulled her off the horse and brought her straight to math tutoring. So that's why I'm in the library right now. Does it sound like it's echoing or anything?
No, that sounds fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um, I, so she stepped out of this room to go finish up her tutoring real quick so I can hop on. And then after this, we are done for the day.
Nice. Well, you guys have been go, 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 and
Yeah.
she's lucky to have you to set
Oh,
her up
thank
for success.
you. So many people always say how important their time was with their child in the car, like driving them to school and from school. And I never really experienced that because we were always at different schools. So being able to do those things with her this summer, like spend so much time in the car, we have more fun in the car than, anything. So it's been great. We've had a good summer so far.
That's good. Now that you say that, I think back to memories with my mom in the car, and yeah, it was they're pretty fond memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, she used to, this is really dangerous, but she used to purposely run into puddles just to like help us have fun. But now that I think about it, that was pretty risky.
She sounded like she was a lot of fun.
She was awesome. Well, I today is the our testimony for
Yes.
coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for it, and you just answer honestly and don't feel
Okay.
pressure, and people
Okay.
will see Renee for Renee.
That's the pressure right there.
I guess that is scary, yeah.
Yeah. That's enough right there.
Well,
All right, let's get started. What are we doing?
let's do it. So the first prompt, I suppose, is give me an introduction and kind of a background about how you were doing before you met me.
Oh, Lordy. Okay, so I was diagnosed with CRPS when I was 12. Back then it was RSD. So I have lived with this illness for going on 30 plus years. I was very lucky at 12. I had a local surgeon who performed a surgery that helped put me in a remission for about 20 years. And then around 36 years old, I think it was, I stubbed my toe, and it came back full force in my right foot. Actually, let me say this. I was diagnosed when I was 12 in my right, it had it in my right leg from my knee down. And I mean, I can remember it being the whole leg just being purple and ice cold. And um, especially at that age, you don't really understand what is going on. I remember hearing my mom tell this surgeon, like, I think Renee is depressed. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever heard the words of like, depression and what it meant, but I was crying all the time because you don't understand it. And then you get this label of RSD, still you don't understand it. So I feel like a lot of what I do know about this illness, I really had to learn on my own. So coming to doctors at 36 years old, I kind of had a good, you know, idea of what I thought this illness was about. And I mean, my husband and I have traveled to the Cleveland Clinic. We have been all over the place trying to get answers when it came back just in my foot at like 36 years old. And I do have a spinal cord stimulator. I have been on pain meds, antidepressants, you name it, for years. Today is day one of no pain meds, which honestly, I didn't even know that this day was possible.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been like in the last 10, no, let's see, I'm 48 now. So in the last 12 years or so, I've just been trying to manage and not doing a great job at managing. I would have months at a time of feeling fine, and then something would happen and it would put me back in, or something would, something as simple as like jumping in a swimming pool, a flare would happen. And I'd have to go back to my pain management doctor and we'd try a whole artillery of things to kind of get things to calm down. But nothing ever put me back into the remission that I remember being back in when I was 12. So I, about 2 years ago, ended up having to have major surgery on my left foot. And while recovering from that major surgery, I tripped on my CRPS foot and broke it. And from that, and then I had to have surgery on that one. So I was double booted for a time period. And from that point on, it has been a true nightmare of being able to first be able to get out of the boots. I'm going to say plural. Secondly, how do you manage taking care of yourself, much less your home, take care of your child, take care of your husband, and try and work. I'm a teacher, and so I have missed days on end of work because the pain was so bad at times. And then, there are things of, did I think it was spreading? Did, is my whole body in pain? All of these things. And lo and behold, on Facebook, I find this person named Chase. And I'm like, I'm intrigued. I was very intrigued, but I was extremely skeptical because, is this kind of like, um, a snake oil type of salesperson? You don't know who to trust, especially when you feel that the majority of your doctors, and don't get me wrong, I've had some wonderful doctors, but I've had some horrible ones too. Um, but when the majority of them don't necessarily understand what you have been through, um, it's very, very hard to get them to walk in your shoes, basically. And so I think the first thing that really attracted me to wanting to contact you was the fact that you are, you're a warrior. You have been through CRPS and have put yourself into remission. So that was my first instinct of like, okay, maybe this guy is not, just a fake,
Yeah.
a fake ad here.
Yeah.
Um, and how far did you say into session 3? I was still skeptical of you.
Well, it wasn't even just session 3. It was we met 2 times for calls,
Yeah,
you know,
thank you.
um, once with you and then once with you and your husband. And then
Well, and
and
I wanted to make sure. So like I met with you and I was very pleased. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, yeah.
But I wanted him to hop on with me because I didn't want to go into anything emotionally. I didn't want to jump into one-on-one coaching with you thinking this is going to be the end all be all, because there have been time after time you were let down with this illness.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, from doctors letting you down to your own body letting you down, I could not take one more rejection. I
Yeah.
couldn't. And so I needed that person to say, yeah, he's the real deal. And that's exactly what he told. And I told him, I said, before we get on, I said, I need you to be 100% honest with me and tell me if you think he's the real deal. And once we, and not just saying this to boost your ego, but legit, he said, yeah, he is the real deal. Go ahead and meet with him.
That's
And
awesome.
truly to say, when did we start meeting?
Oh,
February, March?
yeah, yeah, it was around there. Yeah.
So to go from, let's say, February to the end of June, being able to walk with in different shoes, being able to address where my pain is stemming from. And I don't mean just my feet, I mean emotionally. And to honestly say that today is the first day I am not taking any pain meds. If you'd have told me all of that would have happened before, I'd have said, this is total, BS. There's no way.
Yeah.
Um, but it's 100% possible.
Yeah. I love that you said that. I love that you mentioned the being able to address where the pain's coming from and the emotional aspect.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
been
think
a
one thing you told me, and this is how when people ask how I'm doing, and I say, I've been working with a pain coach, and everyone, of course, is kind of like a pain coach. And you had explained to me one time that physical therapy does so much for the physical, but there's not much of the therapy aspect. And to me, I think that has been more rewarding than anything, as a resistant as I have been.
Yeah. 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 You're right. And it's easier sometimes to have physical pain than it is to see the emotional stuff we've been holding on to. That is the
Oh,
reason people, might self-harm or pull their hair out or I used to, you can see on my hand, I used to chew my finger right here. I was trying to distract from what was really there and CRPS is a very profound version of that.
yeah,
And so, yeah, when we talked about some of the things in your life that you had faced and some of the feelings you were still holding on to,
yeah,
and we had multiple breakthroughs of, oh, you're right, maybe I can let that go, or maybe I've already
yeah.
achieved that. Each time we did that, I saw your pain starting to come down.
And it was so interesting. The things that I noticed too, going through these sessions with you, were that if I was anxious or something was happening, my foot would start burning. But the minute you and I would hop on, and I said these things to you out loud, like you would say, okay, well, what's going on this weekend? And then I was like, oh, that's why it's bothering me. And to see just by saying these things out loud how my pain would go from, let's say we started off at an 8 to a 0 afterwards was that's where I was, okay, I'm totally into this. I have jumped full, I've drank the Kool-Aid here basically.
Yeah.
Um, because it was, I don't know what else can speak for the fact that once I said these emotions were bothering me out loud and things that I didn't want to face, or I didn't like you for making me think about these things, to see how my pain levels went to nothing was nothing short of a miracle. And I don't say that lightly.
That means a lot to hear and I think it'll help a lot of people because I have clients that I work with that they're so fearful to explore it that
Yeah,
the fear perpetuates the pain and the pain increases and then the fear increases and then they stay stuck. And
100%. I was that person wholeheartedly before you and I started working together. And I
oh
mean, if
yeah.
any of the videos that you have of me, I have told you over and over again, there are times I don't like you for saying this, but I knew you were right in asking me certain questions. And as hard as it can be, it truly, to me, it was the emotional aspect of our coaching sessions that really transformed the way in which I live with CRPS. And
Yeah.
I'll always say that I live with it because it really has shaped who I am as a person. And I don't want to take away, from all the things that I've been through with this illness. But I will say that I no longer suffer from CRPS.
That's a huge statement.
Yeah, it's It really is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is huge.
Well, I applaud your courage, during this because, it's not an easy thing to look at those emotions, things that we've buried. And I'll try to splice it in, but you even told me at one point, I'm afraid if we look at it, I'll never stop crying or like it'll
Yeah.
never stop. The
Yeah.
emotions will never stop coming out.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
we
100% right.
we shove things down so much in our life that eventually they have nowhere to go but our feet for some people.
Yeah.
And that was true for me and in the grief that I had to face and that was true for you and the things that you were feeling. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, you've answered a lot of the other questions that are here.
Oh,
But
did I? Okay.
no,
I didn't even know.
it's perfect. I mean, people like the candid stuff. So if I just ask these questions without, more input, it wouldn't be a good video. And so,
Okay.
what I would ask next then is, what
Yeah.
do you think the most important thing, and you've kind of answered this, but what do you think the most important thing you learned during coaching was for you?
Definitely how to identify what I'm feeling. So I'll say this in different ways because one, I needed to identify and say out loud, my foot is on fire. But then I needed to examine, and you are the one who brought this to light for me, was why is it burning? What are you feeling internally, not physically? What am I internally feeling at the moment to cause it to be so? And, just in the short time period that you and I have worked together, I've had some really big things happen, like stopping one job and starting another one. And I remember on one day that was very, very heavy at school. Um, this was during the time period that you and I have been, working together. It would have normally triggered such a flare. But I remember getting into the car and thinking, wow, my foot's not on fire because I knew what was happening. Like I was able to identify the fact, like I'm angry over something or I'm upset over something. So I think being able to identify those things and really tell them to myself, even if I had to say them out loud to no one listening in the car, that was probably key for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that is the thing I try to teach people the most is the emotion that they're not feeling. And a lot of times for a lot of people it's
Yeah,
anger. And being able to say like, yeah, I'm
I think
angry.
I had a lot. Yeah. And I think you pointed that out to me really early on was anger or tears are really the form of anger. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, well, the emotional pain that you have coming out is not far from anger. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And so I think I did not realize how much anger I felt. I thought I had a lot of sadness, um, built in until I was able to really recognize what is my child doing? No idea. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard for us, especially when we grow up in, sometimes we're told like good girls don't get angry,
Yeah.
or don't be upset, uh,
And I don't know if I ever knew how to.
in a safe way.
Yeah, in a safe way. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That it was a lot easier just to stay quiet and then, cry because you're upset over something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a good point. I don't think I ever knew how to.
Yeah.
And especially having something so traumatic happen at the age of 12, that's a long time period of having some really heavy material. I don't know what other word to say. Things that are kind of stuffed down. Um, and looking back, like if I had made a timeline of my life and all the medical junk that has gone on in my life, now that you and I have worked together, I can really pinpoint the time periods of my life that yes, this was happening in my life when I was sick, or this was happening in my life when I had to have a full hysterectomy when I was 21. I mean, there are so many things that have happened along the way that I now am able to understand that how I was feeling about, certain things.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, in a, I don't even know how I can explain the hope that you've given me back. Um, I am extremely hopeful for this upcoming school year. I am extremely hopeful of the fact that today's the first day off of pain medicine. Um, I just feel like the weight of the world has been lifted. And I don't mean to say that in such a cliche way, but it's true. Like you feel like this huge weight has been lifted because you don't want to walk through life, being ill and, not being able to enjoy watching your daughter grow up and be in plays or do things or, go to a movie with your husband or whatever. But because I've been able to identify these things and walk on my own 2 feet now and not have to take pain medicine, I can, happily say I'm very hopeful.
Yeah. Hope is the antidote. And as soon as you see the connection, you see it everywhere. And
That's the point.
it is very much like for me it was like waking up. I when I made the connection, I remember a definitive moment, um where and I'll just explain it quickly, but I was in a clinical rotation and I had seen my first patient with CRPS in my whole schooling. This is like years after I had
Yeah.
CRPS, and he had it in his hand. And after he left the room, I started crying. And I
Mm.
was usually a very stoic person.
Yeah.
And my clinical instructor, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Chase, what are you feeling? And I didn't have to think, not even for a moment. I said grief.
Mm.
And that in that moment, my brain was like, it was like I got hit with cold water. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. The whole time, all right around when I was diagnosed with CRPS, I had lost family members. I
Yeah.
never grieved. And never looking at that emotion was the very reason, in my opinion, that I developed CRPS and chronic migraines and my gut disorder. And so the exploration of those emotions in the same way that you've seen, the identification and the exploration of them resolved my
Yeah.
symptoms. And it gave me hope. And I realized that the medical physical spiral was a mind trap.
It
And
is.
it's a prison. Like I say, pain is not my prison. It's a power. Now that I can see my emotions, I can do anything.
You're absolutely correct. It's almost like you're taking off glasses to be able to see the world, in full color. Like taking off sunglasses, I should say, to be able to see the world in full color.
Yeah.
Um, because it's so much better. Like for a long time, I really thought, okay, is this as good as it's gonna get? And if that's it, it sucks. I don't think you're lying, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to believe that.
Yeah. Well, I need you to inundate yourself with belief. Because if you can't believe that it's going to get better, there's going to be a situation where it's like, why even go 5 minutes with Oliver? You know, why even carve out time for myself if it's all just going to be the same?
That's true. I mean, this is basically as good as it's ever gotten. I don't
Mhm.
think that it can get any better than this.
The point that it,
And I've told you the first time, like even going into this, I don't feel hopeful with it because nothing ever freaking works.
so when you say as good as it's ever gotten, before this, did you feel like it could get that good?
No, I shouldn't even, I know, I think I worded that wrong. Um, yeah, I've just kind of set into this is it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you don't want that, of course.
No. Uh, but knowing that I guess I had to have some glimpse of there has to be more than just this out there for me to be able to reach out to you. And I really think you were probably my last, ditch effort to like even try to get back into any remission because I didn't know where else to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I really didn't.
Where all did you go? You went Cleveland Clinic, you did the spinal stimulator, you did.
Yeah. Um, Spinal cord stimulator, 2 sympathectomies, Cleveland Clinic, where they just told me I needed to, I think it was more of like just lose weight. I mean,
Mm,
I went all the way over there just to be told that.
mm.
I mean, shoot, I know I need to lose weight. Um, where else? We went to Houston when I was really young. but I don't
Okay.
remember what type of doctor or anything. I mean, we exhausted all of our energy. I mean, my poor parents to see, it's even interesting to watch my parents when I talk to them now about what you and I have been, working through. And even listening to my mom, she even told me, she says, because when I was injured at 12, I fell playing basketball. And she says, I regret making you play basketball that year. And I thought to myself, why? I mean, it was like I was being hit from left field, like, oh, how do you feel guilty over me falling at playing by playing basketball? I said, even if I said I would have gotten this illness regardless,
Yeah.
it would have happened one way or the other. It just happened at the time period. I was 12 and I was playing basketball. So to see them even kind of relinquish some of their guilt has been really nice.
That's the cool thing about exploring your own emotions is you can have the hard conversations for other people because you know that they will
Yeah.
have net benefit. And the
Yes.
fact that you just said I would have gotten this regardless
Yeah.
shows me just how much you've learned while we've worked together. Because
Hmm.
I do believe, that our personalities are very much alike. I
Yeah.
tell this to everyone. I do believe that it's an eventual moment where your body says enough. You know,
Absolutely.
you've pressed this down for so long, it's time to feel it. And you know, if you learn to listen to the pain and ask it, why is it here? What are you protecting me from? It
Yeah.
can let its guard down. And that's why I say pain is your power. That exact
Yeah.
reason. And so yeah, I am just so proud of you, Renee. Like
Thank you,
seriously.
Chase.
Seriously. I'm gonna
Thanks.
when I make this, I'm gonna splice in some of our moments where, you were fearful, doubtful,
Oh, Lord.
maybe mad at me. But I think
Yeah.
that just seeing where you are now, I mean, the first couple sessions we met while you were in bed, it was to that
Did.
level. And now the last
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4 sessions, you're in a new place every time I see you.
And I never thought about that, honestly, until you pointed it out. And just that visual is transformative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, in the last 4 or 5 sessions, you've been in a new location every time.
Yeah.
And that makes me so happy. Even though that pillow you used to keep behind you was cute. Um, I
I
I
still
think
use it as I read some of your books. I still use it. Yes.
well, that's lovely. Well, my only question now then, for to round this out is what are you gonna do now that you've overcome this thing and your fear of CRPS is reduced? What's next?
The cool thing is that I don't know. And I think that's a beautiful thing because I feel almost limitless. Like I don't want to have limits. I don't want to be able to say, well, next I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. I don't want X, Y, and Z. You
Yeah.
know, I just want to be able to say, yes, let's go swimming. Yes, let's go walk through Target. Yes, let's go to a movie and dinner. I
Yeah.
want to be able to say yes and live out those yeses because for so long I would commit to things and then last minute I have to back out because the pain was too great
Yeah.
or I was worried as to whether or not I would be in pain after that event. And
Yeah.
so now I really feel like yes is going to be the best answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna That's perfect. That's the perfect answer. You want to say yes more.
I
Um,
do. I
I
really
lo
do.
I love it. I am so excited for you. I hope to meet you in person in September,
Day, hopefully, we'll
potentially.
see.
Okay.
Potentially.
But
Potentially.
other than that, I'm always in your corner, and I think people watching this are going to be very, very happy for you. And I hope that if there's people who are feeling doubtful, they can look at your
Yeah.
story and say, "Okay, I'll give it a shot."
Well, I hope so. Like I think especially just being a teacher in general, like I always feel like I've been put on this earth to like serve. And if my story can serve to get one person to contact you or one person, and I've had people reach out to me just by working with you. Um, if I could get one person to say, like this is possible, like don't lose hope, then I think that this journey has not only served me, but it has served so many others. Um, so I would really recommend to any person who is doubting their next step with CRPS to please reach out to you, or, reach out to someone who has done some one-on-one coaching with you. Go into your curriculum, watch your YouTube videos, because it is 100% possible. And I promise I was living proof that I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
Is it exciting that things could be different?
Yeah.
God, yes. I mean, it's so foreign. So, oh, excuse me, it's so ridiculously foreign.
What are you feeling right now?
Just sadness because it's so foreign.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like otherworldly. Like, yeah. For as long as I can remember, the only thing I have felt has been some sort of physical pain in one form or another.
Hmm.
And that's that. I mean, like, what else do you say about it? I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. You could say how you feel about it. You could say it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but again, like why complain about it? I mean, this is what I've been given.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. I don't know, Chase. I don't know what you want me to say.
Whatever you feel.
I don't know what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, sadness, you said that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really sucks to be in pain all the time. It
Yeah.
sucks, it does.
Yeah. To hear you say that after the very first day we met, it just makes me so happy, you know. And even when we first met,
Yeah,
I was grinning because I was like, I'm gonna show you.
you
And
did. You
yeah.
did.
Well,
Yep.
you're awesome.
Thanks, Jake.
I
So
am,
are you. I could not have done this without you.
well,
I mean, Lord,
well,
needy child.
as I always say, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it, and you did. You kicked it down, and so I'm just so happy
Kind of
for
hard
you.
not to.
What's that?
It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah,
When, and I was thinking about that earlier too. It's like, yeah, you would ask me really hard questions, but there's no denying when these questions are right. And I couldn't go back to, hiding from them when you like are showing a mirror in front of your face and saying, you need to look at this.
yeah,
Because there's stuff I didn't want to look at. It's tired
yeah.
of it.
Everybody has a small part of them calling out to them to
Yeah.
say like, hey, pay attention to this, and so for some it's harder to hear than others. But yeah,
Yeah.
once you listen, it gets loud, and yeah, now that you're
Mhm.
listening, yes is possible, and
Yeah. Oh, I
well,
like that hashtag. Yes, it's possible.
yeah, maybe we'll use that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like that too. All right, Chase.
Well,
You have a great afternoon.
you too, and enjoy the time with your daughter, and I'm
Well,
just thrilled. Keep me updated. I'm always right here, and if September works, we'll make it work.
absolutely. I've already said you're a part of this family. So once you're in with our family, you're in forever. So I don't think you and I are going anywhere.
No way. No way.
Yeah.
All right,
All
Renee.
right.
I'll see you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Picked up the pieces, the seasons are changing, flowers I'm rearranging. Kept this a secret, gave me every reason, the stream I was chasing. The price of peace, the silence released, a fire we kept on burning. The light through the leaves, smoke in the trees, engines keep on turning. Thought we'd find we couldn't time